Holy shit. March 17, 2015 is when I reviewed the original Xenoblade Chronicles. This was the review that essentially put me on the map for a lot of people. It was the Wii version that came out in 2012 in America and 2010 in Japan. So here we are, 10 years later to get Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for the Switch, released May 29th, 2020, baby. There is a lot to unpack with this ginormous beauty of a game, so let's just get right into it. Immediately, you're hit with this compelling lore of two titans who were in an eternal war, the Bionis and the Mechonis. Finally, they each struck each other, ending in a truce, and both titans fell asleep. Life had formed on the Bionis, fending themselves against the evils of the Mechon, the beings of Mechonis. You start as Dunban, the hero of Sword Valley, fending off Mechon with the Mechon-baning sword, the Monado. A year passes since the War of Sword Valley, where we meet our true protagonist, Shulk, a brilliant tinkerer of all things mechanical, and his best friend, Reyn, who's part of the defense force of Colony 9. It's a normal day like any other. Shulk, Reyn, and Fiora, Shulk's little honey bun, go to collect some equipment to repair the machinery. Upon their return, the Mechon attack. Shulk having no other option than to wield the Monado. It's revealed that the sword can also see the future. With this new power, he successfully defends Colony 9, but at a price. Avoiding spoilers, this is the tragedy that sets Shulk and Reyn on their adventure for vengeance, while also uncovering the secrets of the Bionis and the Mechonis. I shall leave it at that, as this is an adventure that's best experienced. Not only is the story superb, but as are the characters. The cast is lovable and endearing, and with the exception of Hero Pawn Ricky, everyone has a personal reason to fight. But that's not to say Ricky isn't a welcomed and lighthearted addition to the crew. Dunban is fighting for Colony 9. Sharla, our caring sniper, is in search for her loved ones after the destruction of Colony 6. And Melia fights for her people. While in battle, they encourage one another, and even after battle, they swap charming dialogue. Certain characters wear hints of their connection to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. There is a lot to love. This is a double win. You have a gripping narrative with characters you hold dear to your heart. When they cried, I felt their pain. When they smiled, my heart melted. These characters have all lost something so precious to them, and watching them fight tooth and nail for their survival, you could say I was really feeling it. In the Definitive Edition, there's about a 10-hour epilogue called Future Connected, which can be started right away. No need to play the base game. Being vague as possible, it addresses the aftermath of Melia's story, and introduces Nene and Kino. I'm gonna be honest, after playing it, it felt unnecessary and desperately needed a villain. I would honestly recommend a Let's Play rather than spending 10 hours of your time. Now let's talk about what you'll be doing, the gameplay. First, we're going to talk about the combat, and then everything else. Combat is started by locking on your target and granting yourself buffs, or attacking right away, or the enemy could spot you first. When near the enemy you're targeting, you'll auto-attack. Auto-attacks will fill your talent gauge, for your talent art in the middle. Your arts are those to the side of your talent art. A nice addition to the Definitive Edition is an exclamation mark, which indicates the opportune time to use an art, as some enemies you can't tell if you're behind them or on their side. Afterward, the art has a cooldown time. One gripe I have with using arts is you cannot move around as you use arts unless you reconfigure the controls, as you had to remove your thumb from the analog stick to the D-pad to sift through your arts. While in battle, using arts effectively or having high tension, which is pretty much character morale, will boost up your party gauge. When that's full, you can perform a chain attack. Command each character to do a specific move, and if the arts are of the same color, it increases the damage or recovery. And depending on the character's affinities will depend on how long you can keep the chain attack going.
My turn. We're not done yet.
Got it. Turn. Strike. Chain attack. Ready to roll.
Also, one block of party gauge can be used for reviving a fallen ally, so use it wisely. Another key strategy in battle is topple and daze. Break your enemy's defenses and they'll become susceptible to topple, which knocks them on their feet and they're unable to do anything. Daze keeps them in that state for even longer. Some attacks are more effective when an enemy is dazed. Chain attacks and toppling are the key to many battles. But one of the most helpful features that isn't just limited to a story plot point is seeing the future. Sometimes you'll get warnings of a character death. If you have one block in the party gauge, you can inform a party member to do one action that might break or change the vision tag.
Right, you're a lifesaver. Aura! baby. Right. Awesome. Leave it to right. Feeling it. Yes. Behold the power.
I encourage you to play every character, as many play and are built very differently. Ryan is your standard tank, but Dunban is an invasion tank. Melia is your mage, Ricky is about piling on status effects, and Shulk has special Monado arts. With different party members, you'll find new ways to change the future. One pet peeve I had are levels are so important. If you are 2 levels under an enemy, oh my gosh, it's a challenge. But if you're the same level, it's not so bad. If you're 2 levels over a boss, you will wreck it. I feel the emphasis on levels are kind of insane. And speaking of levels, there is an expert mode where you can change the level and de-level your characters in the event you're like me and over-level. Another thing is, this is my second time playing Xenoblade Chronicles, so the battle mechanics came naturally to me. But I do recall my first time feeling awkward because of the auto-attacking. After battle, you're awarded experience, AP or art points, and SP or skill points. Art points are used to level up your arts, do more damage, the debuffs last longer, shorten cooldown times, etc. Skill points go toward whatever branch of the skill tree you have selected. And depending on your affinity with each character, you can share skills. The more characters that like one another, the more skills they'll have available to share. When you level up and by defeating unique monsters, you'll gain an affinity coin, which allows you to equip other characters' skills. Okay, I've been saying affinity a lot without properly explaining it. How do you raise the affinity? Taking on quests, chain attacks, encouraging party members in battles, reviving them, giving them gifts, and heart-to-hearts. Heart-to-hearts is a scene between 2 characters and you're given choices. Say the correct one and their affinity raises. Say the wrong one and their affinity lowers. Not gonna lie, I saved before each one because I was afraid I was gonna lower it. Cool thing is though, even if you do select the wrong answer, the dialogue completely changes, and sometimes you get a new perspective on things. Now, not all heart-to-hearts are accessible right away. Sometimes there needs to be a certain affinity, a time of day, or you're not far enough in the story. Future Connected has some gameplay changes such as collecting pawn specters, and instead of chain attacks, you have union attacks that can heal, deal damage, or debuff. No more seeing the future, mining doesn't give crystals but straight up gems, no skills, no affinities, and instead of heart-to-hearts, you get quiet moments, which are choiceless cutscenes. It's very watered down, but not in a bad way. And that about covers a majority of the gameplay. Honestly, it's very much like a single-person MMO. Your arts have cooldowns, you have aggro management, but also in scope. This world is enormous, so you'll be doing a lot of exploring, a lot of quests, and fighting unique monsters. So, you remember this world is quite literally a titan, a gargantuan figure? Let me tell you, it feels that way. You're traveling vast and beautiful landscapes all on foot. No giant mechs, no airships, no flying companions. There are fast travel options, but they are far, far apart. And a new addition is auto run, which I love. Whatever direction your character's in, they run. Sadly, they don't run a path, so you'll have to change their direction from time to time. While exploring, you encounter landmarks and secret areas, finding new locations award you experience, so explore away. But beware, as you might run into some insanely strong monsters, shown in red amidst the weaker ones in blue. I also love that monsters are tagged and instigated in different ways. Some will attack on sight, seen by the eye icon, some if they hear you, others if you use ether, aka magic. It gives them a little personality. There are unique monsters that may look average, but when you highlight their name, it sparks. Some monsters, items, and quests are only available in certain times of the day, or under special weather conditions. Thankfully, you can change the time whenever you need. On travels, you'll gather several side quests. They added 80 more to the original's 400. You will feel overwhelmed at first. And frankly, most are the standard, collect this, kill X amount of this, bring me this key item, but it's how side quests are handled in this game versus the OG version is amazing. You can see exactly where you need to go and the steps you need to get there. So say goodbye to running into obstacles. And thanks to memos, it even tells you if your target is inactive. The old game, you just had an arrow telling you where to go and how many steps you were away. Also, objectives are highlighted on your map with an exclamation point. This is such a good to know feature. If you're near a quest, why not take care of it while you're there? It's because of this I completed a lot more quests than my first go around. Completing quests grants you experience, items, affinity between your party, and raises the town affinity, meaning better items for trading. You can trade with named NPCs, as finding collectibles can be a chore. There are items that have spawn rates as low as 2%. However, they rectified this in the definitive edition with the Archsage Nopon that can be found in orange portals. Take on his challenges and you'll receive Nopon Stone, a special currency to trade for armor, gems, and rare collectibles. Another fun tidbit about collectibles is sometimes you'll get a vision after collecting one, warning the player that in the future, these items will be needed for a quest. Knowing this, an exclamation point will appear beside the item to remind the player that it's needed, so you know not to sell or gift the item. You'll be needing collectibles to rebuild a colony. This area will allow you to gain collectibles from areas you've already visited, plus spring up some new side quests. It's certainly worth investing your time in, and honestly, it feels good. There are gems that grant extra buffs you can add onto your weapon and armor, craft them by defeating enemies that drop crystals, or harvest the crystals directly, and you can make gems out of them. Select 2 people, preferably with a high affinity, and make the highest quality gems. And speaking on equipment, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition has fashion gear, meaning you can wear high-level armor without sacrificing your look. Gone are the days of looking like an absolute goof while felling Mechon. Now we can talk about one of the biggest updates, and that is the graphics. And I don't care what anyone says, this is a remake and it's beautiful. The upgrade is outstanding. So, Xenoblade Chronicles was originally a Wii game, and it had the ugliest faces. They looked melted, and it was never HD compatible. It was just a shell of what it could have been, and the Definitive Edition just brought this game the much needed upgrade it deserved. This was remade from the ground up, clearly in the same engine as Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And frankly, we're not even going to talk about the 3DS version. It looks like straight up trash, even compared to the Wii. But I'm going to continue to ramble about this renewed character look. I mean, for fuck's sake, they have white teeth. And they made Ryan hot and handsome? It's crazy because when I was playing the Wii, I saw it as if it was the Switch version, you know? But now seeing it side by side, I realized I was just lying to myself. But it's not only the characters that got a glow up, but the backgrounds too. I would say less so, but there's clearly an upgrade. Some backgrounds got the whole overhaul, others were brushed up just enough not to make characters stand out in a distracting way, unlike some games. And quick attention to new art, I like it more than the old. I think the darker colors were kind of muddied together in the first one. It looks busy and I find a lot of the details lost, whereas the new art uses lighter colors and looks vibrant. And finally, the music. It was striking. You thought the original was good, and it is, but Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is proof that you could already take a perfect soundtrack and make it better. While you do have the option to listen to the original soundtrack in-game, I don't know why you would. The remastered versions sound fuller. Take Colony 9's theme, for example. Here's the original. It's good, wholesome, but now listen to the remaster. Do you hear the birds chirping? It feels more lively. Plenty of songs do this. Highly recommend check out Earthsea. Also has day and night themes. For this I'll use Guar Plains. Also, a ton of battle themes, regular themes, unique monsters have their own themes. Future Connected also has all new battle themes, and it's amazing. It is called Time of Battle. It's super funky fresh. It also has 2 other themes, and before I wrap this up, I just want to say Xenoblade Chronicles has top tier voice acting. If you were scarred by Xenoblade Chronicles 2, baby, don't worry, this game will take away the pain. Best song is still my favorite from the original, Makanis Field, although Satoral Marsh, Night Theme, and The Time of Battle are definitely runner-ups. Chronicles Definitive Edition is like a 9.8. It's so close to perfection. Honestly, if the levels weren't so strict, and if there was like a turbo mode, a way to get around faster aside from just traveling from point to point that were still so far and few between, I would have loved this game. It would have been excellent. I don't think I would have any other real complaints. Maybe let me jump over fences easier. If you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. Fences are the true enemy of this fucking game. But real talk, the story, the lore, the characters, the atmosphere, the music, god tier. The quality of life changes with quests, ugh, beautiful. Another thing, I'm not really counting Future Connected as a part of this score because honestly, the best thing that came out of it were the new characters, Nene and Kino. It pains me to say, but you gotta drop your expectations for Future Connected. The enthralling storytelling of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 was just absent. In conclusion, Xenoblade Chronicles is still one of the greatest JRPGs I have ever played. I recommend it, but only if you have the time to do so. It is a huge time sink. It is a single person motherfucking O. That said, look forward to a Kirby review in the near future as a palate cleanser, and afterward, look forward to a lot of JRPGs. Bye! Thank you so much for watching. Top box for more videos like this, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. And of course, become a patron, join the Discord. We have an awesome community. Love your faces, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah!